Texas A&M currently sits atop the SEC, and they have been pretty dominant throughout the college football regular season after the Week 1 blunder against Notre Dame. A big part of the reason that they have been so impressive is because of the rotational pieces that they have along the defensive line. Nicscourton has been incredible for them. Shemar Turner has been good. Cassius Howell has made some plays as a designated pass rusher, but I think the biggest shocker along the defensive line for the Aggies has been edge rusher Shemar Stewart. Stewart is an absolute monster of an athlete and a player that turns 21 in November. How high could he hear his name called in the 2025 NFL Draft? That's what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide. All you have to do is join as a free member, and you will be able to see all 500 of my scouting reports and in-depth ranking system for over 500 players in the draft class. It is some of the work I am most proud of, and I highly recommend checking it out if you enjoy my NFL draft content. Leave a comment on which guys you would want to see in the future video, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Shemar Stewart. Stewart has been a very interesting player along a loaded defensive line for Texas A&M. In 2023, he didn't see the field very much, playing in just 318 snaps, but in those snaps, he had some solid production. He finished the year with 26 total pressures, 2 sacks, and 6 tackles on the year, which was solid, but he wasn't viewed as one of the premier players in this class coming into the season. So far in 2024, however, he has had an awesome impact for the Aggies and has been a big riser throughout the first half of the college football season. Through just 8 games, Stewart has put up 23 pressures, 1 sack, and 10 tackles on the year while displaying some elite athleticism. I think his potential is sky high. Stewart has exceptional size along the defensive line. He is 6'6", 290 pounds, and is an absolute freak on the D-line. Not only does he have the ideal height and weight combination, he also has exceptionally long arms for the position as well, and is reported to have a well over 80-inch wingspan. He is a player who has all the traits that you could ask for in an edge rusher and has the potential to develop into something truly special. His overall athleticism is very impressive. He has an incredible first step off the line of scrimmage and showed some very nice quickness and burst to get into the backfield. He also displayed good bend and does a very good job of converting speed to power, and he was a very solid power rusher as a whole. He hits extremely hard, and the power is very apparent as a pass rusher. He is very powerful in that regard, and he has one of the strongest bull rushes in the entire draft class. He plays low to the ground and does an exceptional job of getting his hands on the offensive linemen and just powering through them with his bull rush. But I think the biggest development and the most underrated aspect of Stewart's game is the development of pass rush moves. He is still very unpolished and working to put it all together currently, but he has shown the ability to win with his hands. His hands never stop working against linemen, and he does a very nice job of leveraging his hands and getting into the backfield. I was really impressed with what he showed in that area, and he is definitely improving there as well. Stewart is still an incredibly raw prospect with some things that he needs to improve upon. While he does show some good pass rush upside, he does need to work on his counter moves and continue to be more consistent at landing punches. The upside is certainly there, but it is still an area that is underdeveloped up to this point. The biggest area of concern I found with Shemar Stewart was as a run defender. He does do a nice job of setting the edge at times and has the quickness to get into the backfield. He has amassed 21 run stops in his collegiate career, which is overall pretty solid for an edge rusher. But there were 2 glaring issues in the run department that I think I would like to see him get cleaned up. For one, he misses way too many tackles to my liking. there were a number of instances where he set a perfect angle, he went in for the tackle, and he just flat out missed. He has a 25.5% missed tackle rate in his collegiate career, which is not ideal for any player, let alone an edge rusher. It shows up as a pass rusher though as well, as he would have the right angle to the quarterback. He would create pressure, get his hand, and he just wasn't able to finish the sack, and it's why he only has 3 sacks on the last 2 seasons. So he's got to improve his tackling consistencies, but the other area I thought he was really up and down in was RPOs. He really struggled in that area, and he would freeze oftentimes. He was incredibly indecisive at dissecting the run and having good gap discipline. Granted, he hasn't played too much, and he's about to turn 21 years old, and you hope he gets better with more experience, but it is still an issue I am concerned about. Shemar Stewart has some incredibly interesting tools as an edge rusher. He has the size, athleticism, power, and all the tools that are desired of a franchise difference maker on the defensive line. But he also is still an incredibly raw prospect who needs to improve against the run and be more consistent as a pass rusher. He has all the upside, but this is an absolutely loaded edge rusher class, and he is a bit lower on the board for me. He is my number 8 edge rusher in the draft class, but he did grade out as a top 50 player for me, and I think he's got the upside to finish this season even higher than this. Because of his size and athleticism, Stewart does have a very scheme-versatile build. He's played everywhere along the A&M defensive line, playing over the tackle. He's played some snaps in the B gap, and he's shown the ability to be a versatile player, playing on both the edge and on the interior. However, I think he profiles best as a 4-3 edge rusher, and in a role where he does get to play over the tackle with his hand in the dirt, because he does have quickness to win, has the bend to get around tackles, and when you mix in his power, I think he would be a perfect 4-3 edge rusher in the NFL. Stewart reminds me a lot of New England Patriots edge rusher Keion White. White, when coming out of Georgia Tech, was a really athletic and versatile defensive end who really fell due to his age. He was good against the run, was a very solid pass rusher, and I think Stewart is the same in that way. Both are very talented athletes with speed, quickness, and power. Stewart may be younger and a little bit more athletic, but I think he could turn into a player very similar to what Keion White has been for New England, who's had a pretty dominant year so far in 2024. Shemar Stewart has sky-high potential. He has the quickness and speed necessary, he has good pass rush potential, and he has the potential to develop into a really elite player at the NFL level. I think he's going to test incredibly well at the Combine and get a ton of buzz around the draft, and I believe that Shemar Stewart will be a top 50 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.